So I showed up at the office today and Joe had an idea for a video, a what's in your bag video. And honestly, I hadn't prepared for this at all. We just kind of decided to do it. And instead of really curating exactly what was in my bag and laying it out just so, we just grabbed all the things that were in my bag, real time, actually there, and put them all on the table here. And the reason we're doing this is because we get a lot of questions like, what kind of stuff do you carry around on a day-to-day basis? What kind of stuff do you actually use? Well, this is the stuff I actually use as I'm out and about. And as I look across all the things on this table, I can tell you I have a specific reason why those particular things are in my bag, and I want to share that with you. All right, so I'm just going to start on one side and work my way over and explain why this stuff is even here to begin with. So we've got some random cables over here. The first one is a Y cable, and if you don't have one of these, you should probably carry one around. They're very, very handy. Basically, it just splits your RCA cable audio and into a headphone jack, and this comes in handy for a variety of purposes, whether it's recording equipment or you're trying to get audio out from a Chromebook to like a mixing board or something like that. I've had plenty of instances where I need these. I keep them with me all the time. And going right along with those is basically the same thing. It's just a male-to-male audio adapter. And so back in the day when everything had headphone jacks, you hooked it in one side and hooked it into the other thing, and you could play back or record your audio. That isn't as prevalent these days, but it still comes in handy. Again, we do audio and video recording a lot, so it's nice to have those things when somebody's like, I need a cable to hook this to this. I usually am the guy that has the cables. Here I've got a set of Apple EarPods. So I also have AirPods. Headphones are pretty important. And while we're talking about headphones, I have the Bose QC35 version 2 as well. The reason I carry all three of these, I like these for the most part. AirPods have been really great. They pair up with Chromebooks. They pair up with my phone, my Pixel phones, just fine without any latency while I'm gaming. They're just super convenient. It's one of those places where Apple did something that everybody was like, I don't know if that's really going to be a great thing. It turned out to be an awesome thing, and you know they did something really cool with these. If you don't have any, or you don't like them, or you think people that wear them are stupid, yeah, sorry about that. They are really awesome. But as far as having really high quality sound in a wireless headphone, the Bose QC35s are better. So if I'm going to work for a long time, and I need to be silenced and kept kind of in my dome and really get something done, I will go to the QC35s because they just shut out all sound and they sound amazing, and they're so light and comfortable that I can wear them for long periods of time. They're great on airplanes as we travel and stuff like that. So I do use them in that scenario, but day to day, if I'm just popping in headphones to listen to something or just to kind of write and just have some music playing, I always go to the AirPods. The EarPods instead though are good whenever I have a device that is just being wonky with Bluetooth, or I don't want to mess with pairing or anything like that. I just need to plug something in. We actually did a sound check with this camera right before we filmed this to make sure that the headphones we were using were working properly. And it was nice to be able to just, here, take these, plug them in, use them. So these just are kind of backups. And right under those, I have my handy dandy microfiber. You've seen it. It's famous. It's been in all kinds of videos. It is from Rocketbook. And I use the Rocketbook. It's an erasable like notepad thing. I use it from time to time. It doesn't stay in the bag with me all the time. But man, the microfiber they sent along with it to clean it is fantastic. So I keep it to use, clean screens, clean phones, all that kind of stuff. They're very handy to have. So let's chuck all that stuff out of here. Okay, so moving across the table, the next thing, a lot of people give me flack for this, but I carry an iPad. Not because I love iPads or I love Apple or iOS or any of those things. I actually don't use this for productivity barely at all. I pretty much only play PUBG on this thing. And for PUBG, the newest iPad mini, the one with the A12 chip in it, is amazing. The screen's a little bit bigger than your phone, so you can kind of see a little bit better. It's super fast, obviously, because it's that A12 Bionic chip. And it's paired, in my bag at least, with Bridge's keyboard. And you remember Bridge, they make this keyboard we're talking about in a second. They make the G-Type keyboard for the Pixel Slate. And just in general, they're awesome folks and they make awesome hardware. And since we did some review and work with them, they sent over this just kind of as a gift. And so I keep it on here to protect my screen. And on the rare occasion I pull the iPad mini out to get productive, it's nice to have a little keyboard hooked on there as well. Speaking of keyboards and mice, This is the Bridge C-Type keyboard. It just came out, just started shipping. We've had it for a little while. I love having the small form factor in my bag. If I ever need to hook to a Chromebox or a Chromebase, or like something like a Chromebit or whatever. It's just a Bluetooth keyboard. It's made specifically for Chrome OS. So I love having it in the bag. If I have any kind of setup where I don't want to use the keyboard on the device I'm using, I can switch to this. It feels great and it fits just right down in my bag without taking up a lot of room. And alongside that is the Surface mobile mouse, and it kind of almost looks like it goes with it. I kind of bought it on purpose. It looks really nice with the slate. In general, I just wanted a reliable Bluetooth mouse, and until they make the C-Touch, I think is what they're going to call it, the Bridge portable trackpad that's going to be, you know, made for Chrome OS. When that thing comes out, that'll be the one I carry around with me, obviously. But for right now, I kind of need a stopgap. And honestly, sometimes I just get tired of using a trackpad and want to move to a mouse. And so it's nice to pair this thing up. It works obviously the way you'd expect it to, but it's super slim and it looks really good. And so it fits down in the bag nicely. And I always have it with me if I want to bring this out and maybe flip the Chromebook into a different mode and use some different input methods while I'm at a coffee shop or wherever working. The rest of this stuff is a little bit less interesting, to be honest with you. These things I probably should have talked about with the iPad. They are iPad triggers for PUBG. You slap them on the screen and these things conduct electricity, so it gives you a physical thing to touch for triggers on playing PUBG. As you can tell, we play a lot of PUBG around here. So the rest of this stuff, we start getting into like charging cables and display adapters. So this is a USB Type-C. I'm gonna set that here, so we're gonna talk about what that goes with here in just a second. It's not just a normal USB-C cable, but we've got a USB-C to HDMI adapter. Does exactly what you'd expect. If you hook it into a USB-C port, you get an HDMI out if you need to run to a screen. It shouldn't have to explain why that's important, but things like Pixelbooks or Pixel Slates only have USB-C. You need an adapter if you're out and about. You need to present to a screen. You got to have that thing with you. So that stays in the bag along with the HDMI cable that would go with it. I can't stress enough, if you do anything out and about and you might have to present ever or put something on a screen ever or around people that need to do that, having one of those in your bag, just a standard USB-C to HDMI adapter and an HDMI cable, one of the most important things I keep in the bag at all times. Obviously my Pixelbook charger, I think. I've lost track. I think this one's the Pixelbook charger, maybe the Slate, I can't remember, but it's the USB-C block that Google provides. The best thing about USB-C that's come along in a long time is the fact that this is it. This is my main charger I carry around with me. If I need my phone to be topped off, this. If I need the whatever fill in the blank Chromebook that I'm using to be topped off, this. Pixel Slate, Pixelbook, whatever. If it's USB-C, this thing will charge it fast. So I just have to carry around one charger pretty much all the time. And I do have to carry around an iPad charger because every iPad except the Pro still uses Lightning, and I hate that. I can't wait till they're all USB-C, but for now I keep that around because PUBG kills my battery. And then a random assortment of other cables, you know, a networking cable for the rare instance I need to actually hardline into a Chromebox into a Wi-Fi module or something like that. This is just a standard USB-C to USB-A cable. Those obviously come in handy if somebody's got a charging block or something like that and you need to charge your phone, and you can plug into that. You transfer data, that kind of stuff. And then it's just some random dongles. This is the USB-C to audio dongle, which you need if you have a Pixel Slate. It doesn't have an audio headphone jack on it for some odd reason. And a lot of phones these days don't have headphone jacks. So this is handy to use along with those earphones I was showing you a minute ago. Micro SD to SD card adapter with a micro SD card in it. Again, from time to time, I might need to flash an image so that I can restore a Chromebook. Might just need to move some files without using Google Drive. Obviously these come in handy, as does this, which is the Google USB-C to USB-A adapter. So it's not going to do too much different than what that cable did, but I can plug this into a device that may just have USB-C, and then I can plug whatever dongle I need in there. So whether it's like a Logitech thing or another storage device or something like that, that gets you over to USB-C so it can work with your device. And same thing here, this is just a smaller version of that same thing because sometimes you need a couple things. Lastly, this is the charger for my Fitbit. People ask all the time, what watch are you wearing? What watch are you wearing? It's a Fitbit Versa. This is the charger for it. I've got an extra one at home. This one just stays with me so that when we go out on the road or we're traveling somewhere, I have something to charge this watch, because it only needs to be charged every 3 days or so. And so if I don't have it with me, I'll just forget, and then I won't have a watch and can't track my steps and all that kind of stuff. Lastly, before we get into the stuff over here, This is a little thing I got from Target. Mr. Seven Hands, that's what it's called. Really strange name for a screwdriver. But it's got 7 different screwdrivers on it. Some flatheads and some Phillips head. Just comes in really handy if you ever need to take something apart or quickly grab a screwdriver, and it fits down in my bag, and just kind of each little head pops up and locks into place, and it's a screwdriver. And so it has come in way more handy than I care to mention. And it got taken from me one time at the airport because I forgot to take it out of my bag. You cannot travel on a plane with this. They will take it from you. Before we get into those though, one other thing that's not in my bag right now, but is in my bag anytime we hit the road, are t-shirts from Forma Supply. Matter of fact, I'm wearing one right now. That's why it's not in the bag, but we appreciate them sponsoring us. If you're interested at all in the idea of having fresh t-shirts delivered to your door on a monthly or bi-monthly or quarterly basis, Forma Supply really delivers an awesome product, and we just have enjoyed working with them. We've enjoyed their products, and we all wear these t-shirts. They're comfortable, they're breathable, they look good. So if you'd like to learn more about them and how to maybe get started getting some of those shirts on your doorstep, just go to chromeunbox.com/Forma. That's F-O-R-M-A. So last but certainly not least in the bag, probably honestly the most important things in my bag, are this display and my Chromebook. So this display is made by Wymaxit. If you're around the channel very often, you saw us unbox this. We haven't done our full review on this thing yet, but that will be coming soon. But this thing is just an awesome external display, and Joe's actually been using it quite a bit here lately with the Mac, and I borrow it sometimes. I was testing a Chromebox and plugged it into the Chromebox and sat and just used it at the table. It's nice to have with me when I'm out, especially when I'm doing web development, so it's nice to have stuff in a separate window. A lot of times I don't need a second display, but when I'm doing that kind of work, I really need that second display, and this one's just so simple to set up. They fixed the issues with the case, and so it just kind of sets up nicely like this. One cable hooks it right up to your Chromebook. Extended display. It's a bright, vibrant 1080p display. Fantastic thing here. And though we're not doing a bunch of like, oh, this is sponsored, make sure and check the links below. I'm gonna link all of the stuff that I can find at least on Amazon. But this one specifically, since they sent this over to us for review, it will be down there, and you can buy this thing right now from Amazon. And if you're looking for a second display, this has been my favorite one I've ever used. I've had a few of them, and this one has just been great. It looks great. Oh, and it's touchscreen, by the way, too, and built of metal. I just have a lot of great things to say about it. Really enjoy this particular thing. And so lastly, we get to this Targus case, which does not fit this Chromebook, but it's been a great case. I've had lots of Chromebooks in and out of this case. But right now, what's in my bag is the C434. And a lot of you would probably expect to see the Pixelbook instead. For right now, this has been what's been in my bag, and it's been dominating my time with using Chromebooks in general. I don't know, there's just something really cool about it. I love the almost bezel-less display. The display looks great. The build of it feels good. I like the keyboard. Still not like over the moon about the trackpad in general, but it's good enough that it doesn't really get in the way or bother me. And all the other pieces of it, having a 14-inch display gives me a little more workspace. And battery life has been great, just like we talked about in the review. And just overall, it is easily one of my favorite Chromebooks, and might possibly earn its spot as my daily driver. And if you've been around the channel long at all, you realize that's not an easy spot to take from the Pixelbook. Almost everything, well, everything that comes up against it since I've had my Pixelbook always ends up losing. I always end up going back to the Pixelbook, and I don't want to put myself on a hook. I might go back to the Pixelbook too, but I'm telling you, this thing has become a contender for me more than any other Chromebook has for that coveted spot in my backpack. And so speaking of the backpack, we can't not talk about this thing, because Joe would tell you, Gabe would tell you, anyone who knows me would tell you, this thing is like near and dear to my heart. Like, it's like part of me at this point. From looking at it, it looks like I may have owned it for 6 months or something. I think I've had this thing for 4 or 5 years, I believe. Every day. I carry this thing every day. It's in and out of my trunk. It's in and out of the backseat of my car. It's plopped down in tables and chairs and offices and couches everywhere. This thing goes with me nearly everywhere. I mean, even if I go somewhere for the weekend, it goes with me because it's got all my stuff in it. You know, if I need to do something, it carries everything, and it's always with me. And it barely looks like I've used it. Like, people would probably think I'm lying about it. And we're just big fans of Thule in general, and big fans of their product. They do have a new version of this bag, but I don't know. This is just one of those things, like I haven't worn it out enough. Maybe like in 5 more years, I'll be ready to upgrade or something. There's nothing ripping. They're amazing. Amazing bags. Obviously, we'll throw a link in the description for those too. And again, we don't want any of this video to come off like we're trying to sell you a bunch of stuff, because honestly, we're not. We just decided to make this because it seems like people are interested and they're asking. And in general, the reason we went through and talked about all of the stuff that's in my bag is because I actually use this stuff in my bag on a daily basis. And so hopefully this helps answer some of those questions about what I do and what I get in and out of my bag on a daily basis, and the stuff that I use and how I go about doing some of my job. And if it's helped you in any way make a purchasing decision, or if you just enjoyed watching it, give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button down below and hit the little notification bell so you can be alerted to any of the new videos that we have coming out in the weeks and months to follow. And guys, that's just really it for this one. Until next time, we'll see you.